So as a lot of you know, EA Sports is making a new college football game, College Football 25, and a lot of us are very excited for the game to come out. Now, on this channel, about 4 or 5 years ago, even maybe longer, I made a video saying I didn't want the college sports games to come back just yet. And yes, my stance has changed since then, but that's only because of the addition of NIL. And I made that video at the time because at that time, it didn't feel like the NCAA was at all interested in having these student athletes properly compensated for their likeness. But again, the game didn't need to come back at any time because the college football fan base is so dedicated and so big as a community that they could have made NCAA 14 live on forever if need be, as evidenced by College Football Revamped, the modded version of NCAA Football 14, which allowed for the game to live on forever. There will always be someone that's dedicated enough to make the rosters for every school involved. It was just so refreshing to be able to go back and see NCAA 14 be played forever. I have NCAA 14. I have 2 copies of NCAA 14. One of them doesn't work anymore, which is sad, but at least one of them does work. Now, the reason I'm making this video is that it's been about 10 years since the college football game has been made, and I feel like that's enough time to pass for there to be a whole generation that just hasn't played college football video games. And I want to tell you guys what you're missing out on and what to look forward to with this one, hopefully. Now, again, I don't know what is going to be in the game or not, but if I go off my hunches, go off what a college football game used to be, I think that there are some things that we can definitely carry over into the new college football. If you're new here, welcome in, and if you know me, welcome back. Thank you guys for supporting and subscribing to the channel. It's meaned a lot to me. It's meaned a lot for the channel. Seeing the channel's growth over the last few months has been unreal, and I appreciate it, and let's keep the ball rolling. Liking and subscribing and commenting for the algorithm is free, but it helps me out. Alright, back to the video. I think the thing that college sports games have always had over pro sports games of any kind is the variety. With college sports teams, you have hundreds of options, whereas pro sports teams, you might have like 20 to 30. With college sports teams, you were able to do a dynasty mode with whatever college. And the thing is with college dynasties, the cool part is that after 4 years, once you get 5 years into a dynasty, everything is made up. All the players are made up. It was not like EA Sports was going through like high school sports databases and adding them to the video game. That's not what was happening. They were just making up random assortments of players for you to recruit and whatnot. And the thing is that those dynasty modes were so good back then that you never really wanted to stop playing. I think that the college football season is the perfect amount of time for a dynasty because after 12 or so games, you have the option to switch it up or not. I think that's perfect. Other dynasties like NBA 2K, playing an 82 game dynasty versus a 13 to 14 college football dynasty. Sometimes a 82 game or an MLB 162 game dynasty, it wears on you after a while. As someone that was a kid that always wanted to try new things and try something different, playing a full season of NBA 2K or MLB was a lot tougher than just going through an actual college football season. Usually for 2K and Major League Baseball, I would sim a lot of games and then play the important games or play games that had playoff implications or whatnot. But with college football, I don't think I've ever simmed a season or simmed a game of any part of any dynasty. And I think that that also goes to the fact that the college football games, the old college football games were made with such love, such care, such attention to detail, and you never really ran out of things to do in those games, whether it was, now the gameplay I'm showing you is NCAA Football 2005, and some of my favorite parts of the game are the cheat codes that you could get in the game with the pennant system, which allowed you to do so many things, whether it's have a 1st and 5, unlimited timeouts, your opponent will always fumble the ball. There was such creativity put into this game that I can still play it to this day and not get bored of it. You had cool features like having the Sports Illustrated cover every week, showing what was going on in your college, in your universe. Because this is what this is. The college football games, they're universe builders. They allow anyone to become a coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and build up a college from anywhere and put it in the SEC. There's so much tinkering and so much change and so much you can do in your own kind of universe. And it's the ultimate sandbox experience. One of the ultimate sports sandbox experiences out there. I know there's like Football Manager and other places like that, but feeling like you have that amount of control over a college that you love or a program that you want as more of a challenge is a really cool thing to experience that you don't often get in Madden. Thank you guys for watching this video. Feel free to follow me on all my platforms. One of the most important things as a content creator is having a presence on all of these platforms. It adds a little bit of stability. It adds a little bit of security because in this content creation ecosystem, anything can change just like that. So having your support on all these platforms is important. It's vital and I appreciate it. And let's get to the rest of the video. Now, there are also fun things, college classics modes, where you had to go and relive other college moments in history and play them as video game levels. I wish that this mode comes back in NCAA, but I understand why it would not, because then they would have to find the likeness of like entire teams, and I'm not sure they're gonna do that, especially with the payouts they're doing for the NIL right now. But I would love to have that mode back in the game. Also, the college football games have been great at crafting the individual player experience as well. I remember NCAA 08 had the Campus Legend feature, which you could be like a quarterback, you could be a position, you could be basically any position, and start your way as a freshman and practice, go to class, and earn points to become an absolute legend by the time you're a senior and dominating the ball. And it felt really earned by the time you were a junior, you were a senior, because you weren't out here paying for virtual currency to up your players' stats. You were actually putting in the work. It felt like there was real strategy and intention behind all the moves that you were making. And there was that made it a little bit more special than building up your 2K My Player, which feels a little bit like soulless now, because you're not really doing any hard-earned work. You're not really putting in the work in, you're just paying a little bit more. And I've always appreciated those game modes because it showed that there's just so much love and care in the old EA Sports titles. And NCAA 14, I'm glad that we had that, and it was cool to have on the Xbox 360. And even if this game doesn't come out, even if this game flops, even if this game somehow just like came out and it was one of the worst games ever made, I know that in our heart of hearts, we have college football revamped and we have all of our old games, because each game in this series, you could play forever and never get tired of it. Because all you have to do in your dynasty, whatever year you have a college football game, is just start over, play 5 seasons, and then you're back in the true ultimate sandbox of sports games, which is great. Pro sports video games can't really do that. For NBA 2K and Major League Baseball, for these professional sports careers, it takes about 19 to 20 years for all of the players that are in the game to kind of be phased out of the game and to have that ultimate sandbox experience. And even during that time in the middle, you have real players and fake players. Whereas college, it's just the clean slate is just so unique to a sports game. I cannot overstate how important that is for someone that's trying to just build a dynasty carefree. Because if you think about this now, you're going to try to do this in 2K and you're going to have to wait until Victor Wembanyama is like 38, 39 before you're going to be able to have like an NBA 2K with like no pro players current in the game. The college sports games made it really easy for that. And yeah, I'm really excited for the college football games to come out because, you know, the last game was on the Xbox 360. We've had a couple of consoles since then. Am I worried about the microtransactions part? A little, but like not that worried. I'm not really much of an ultimate team. I know that there's going to be an ultimate team aspect, which is fine. And I'm not worried about that. As long as this game pays enough attention to Dynasty mode, I think it's an overall W. Because yeah, Madden's had some gameplay issues in the past. The thing about Madden that also frustrates a lot of people is that their franchise mode leaves a lot to be desired currently. A lot of features that were in old Maddens have been taken away and phased out over the years, and that has been to the like chagrin of a lot of Madden players now. I just hope the NCAA football game does not cut corners. because it can't afford to cut corners, honestly. I don't think the college football games can afford to cut corners because this game revolves and relies on how good the dynasty mode is, how good the recruiting is, and it's a different type of player base compared to Madden, I think. I feel like it's a different type of player base compared to Madden. Maybe Madden now is more of a my team, ultimate team style game, whereas NCAA football is going to be more of a dynasty mode. Take your road to glory, your Heisman challenge, take your FCS team and make it a powerhouse. It's a different type of gameplay that encapsulates college football fans. Now, I know I've seen a lot of comments being like, if this is just reskinned Madden, I'm going to be upset, but I'm going through it, and I don't really think that the college football gameplay and the Madden gameplay, I think that they've always had certain differences that make each game stand out, which is great. I remember in NCAA 14, they introduced the shovel pass option, and they had so many different types of options. A lot of them are not in Madden, by the way. The college football games came up with the extensive no huddle style play, where you could play in the no huddle and have like basically a lot of plays at your disposal still. And that was a big deal. So there's always been certain differences in the college football atmosphere. Now, another question I have is the realism, the fan bases, what's going to be, college football is all about that atmosphere. Will this game represent that atmosphere, have that kind of soul attached to it? I've seen the commentators that have been confirmed for this game, which is a good sign. I don't know. I just feel like the college football game side has always had a little bit more charisma than the Madden side will ever have. And that's because I feel like a lot of players have an attachment to a certain school or have a fondness to a certain school. And especially the players that have had like dynasties over the years and always chosen the same school. And I think the coolest thing about college football games coming back is that there will be infinite stories to tell from a new generation of players. Maybe there are players that have never played a college football game. They've only grown up in the Madden era. Well, now they'll be able to make dynasty modes, make new characters, recruit made-up characters, and have all these legends be born. And the thing is that with these games, no one's experience is the same. And I think that that's the beauty of sports dynasty modes, especially college sports dynasty modes. I think that having that being like, oh, I recruited this tight end, he's now a 5-star and he's in the running for the Heisman. That's what I try to do in a video, and then I moved from ECU to USF, and then I got to an SEC school or something like that. I think that that's going to be really interesting to have and talk about. And I think the cool thing about this is that there's going to be a whole new lot of content creators that want to showcase their content creation ability that are just tired of playing Madden. I feel like there's going to be a big percentage of people interested in college football because they're just tired of playing Madden. They're just tired of Madden getting same old stale or whatnot. And the cool thing was that when you had college football and you had Madden together always coming out, if you were upset with one or tired of one, you could just go to the other. That was the coolest part too. When college football and Madden were both good games at the same time, it was bliss. It was heaven. And when you added an NFL Street at the same time, EA could not lose at that time. You see what I'm saying? Also in college football, you had the cool playbooks, the wacky playbooks, the triple option, the pistol, the power T, the Maryland I. There were a lot of plays in the college football game that just weren't available in the pro sports game in Madden. They weren't available. So it felt like college football just had more options to just try wacky stuff. And as someone that loves that, I'm all for it, and it's one of my favorite things. You saw the fumble dimension where we only ran the option, we had a tournament. Can't do that in Madden. You just can't. So for my college football game wish list, what I would want to have is, of course, college classics, bring back the pennants, mascot mode, of course, coach mode, of course. I want to ask for EA, when we do simulations, allow me to change the camera angle. It doesn't let me do it, and it's really unsettling. I would rather have it not be the broadcast camera when I simulate. Thank you. I don't know if that's going to be fixed ever. I think an important factor to this will also be recruiting, how easy it is, how extensive it is, if there's going to be NIL stuff involved, how integral will that be to recruitment. So I'm excited for the potential that this game will have. And even if this game falls short of our expectations, which it will, I'm just going to let that be known for you right now, because now we are on 10 years of wish list stuff that EA Sports is definitely not going to cover in the first go round. That's where I think that the feedback loop is going to be so important, and the community, I feel like, will be great in terms of helping provide that feedback. All I'm asking is that us as a player base be patient, because I know it's been 10 years. A lot of the video game landscape has changed. There are some things that dev team is definitely going to miss, and we'd be like, hey, we would love this in the next game, maybe. I'm not sure. So I'm going into this with a bunch of caution, a bunch of patience, and with an open mind, being like, hey, they're not going to get to everything that we want. Just them having the game is a step in the right direction for me. I just need that dynasty mode to not feel hollow. That's all I'm asking. I feel like that's not asking for much. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. Feel free to follow me on all of my platforms. Feel free to like and subscribe, and feel free to ask me any questions that you have, or if you have any video topics that you want me to cover, whether it's sports, video games, whatnot, anything, feel free to let me know. I'll see you guys later. Bye.